Hello everyone, welcome to Extreme Weather Updates, and I have another weather video for y'all. I'm very sorry, I've been very busy lately, but I am back. I've been sick, I've had school, and just some technical difficulties with the channel, but we are back now. At the time of recording this, it's September 4th, yes, September 4th at 9:10 p.m. Central Standard Time. So if this comes out a little bit later and there's new data, don't blame me. This is just the time it's recorded. With that being said, let's get right into it. So here's the current map for the National Hurricane Center, and we have what's most likely going to be soon to be Gabrielle. 60% chance in the next 48 hours and 90% chance in the next 7 hours, or the next 7 days. Sorry. A broad area of low pressure associated with tropical wave is producing a concentrated but still disorganized area of showers and thunderstorms over the eastern tropical Atlantic. Conditions are favorable for the development of this system, and a tropical depression is likely to form by this weekend as it moves slowly westward at 5 to 10 miles per hour across the central tropical Atlantic. So look at these stats right now. It's 23 miles per hour winds, so not very strong. And we're going to look at some intensity models here. Just what we have. Just 24 hours out, just about. Couple models saying in 24 hours it'd be a weak depression, but that probably won't be true, and it'll probably just be a little bit stronger of a invest. By 48 hours, some models are calling for a depression and maybe a weak tropical storm. So we have the 72 hours. Most models are calling, some models are calling for a tropical storm, a medium to low end tropical storm, and some models are calling for a medium to high end tropical depression. 96 hours out, most models are calling for a tropical storm, and even a couple calling for a Cat 1, Cat 2, or even a Cat 3 hurricane, which probably won't happen. I'm just going to note that. Maybe a hurricane, but I could see it happening. I take that back, but too far out to predict for sure. And now 120 plus hours out, basically all models, a tropical storm, high end or medium, maybe a low end Cat 1, maybe a low end Cat 2, or according to one model, a Cat 3. Let's look at our spaghetti models here. I like to look at these a lot. It kind of gives you an idea of where this might go. So we have these squiggly lines right here, and a lot of them have this going to the Caribbean, the Lesser Antilles. We're going to have to be watching out for Martinique, Dominica, Guadeloupe, St. Lucia, even as far south as St. Vincent and the Grenadines, maybe. And then we have a couple models where this actually takes a curve very soon. This would probably be developed by late tomorrow or early Saturday, because the earlier it forms, the earlier it's going to turn. So if this were to form tomorrow, it would probably just miss the Caribbean, or maybe hit the outskirts and go into the Atlantic, and maybe even just miss all land like Aaron did. But if this were to form in the next 5 to 7 days, it would probably go into the Caribbean, and from there, most likely a curve into the Atlantic and a threat to the east coast of Florida, the Carolinas, maybe Georgia, Virginia. And maybe in a not likely scenario, but possible, maybe into the Gulf, where the Gulf Coast states could be threatened. So that's what we're looking at. We're going to look now. And also just want to know that, look, we got our first snowstorm. Yay. Okay. I don't know what that was. But, sorry if I sound a little bit weird. I'm still a little bit sick. I have to clear my throat every couple seconds. Okay, so this is the 18Z run. from the GFS. So let's take a look, and there's a very big difference between these models. The GFS has a stronger system developing, but earlier, and as you can see, it takes it, and let's actually back this up and pause it. So, look, this is why the Western Antilles needs to watch. Look at all these islands being hit by a 972 millibar hurricane, which is pretty strong. Again, take all this with a grain of salt. It's pretty far out. Then the American has it hitting Puerto Rico before strengthening further. And then from there, we have to watch Florida, the Carolinas. But in a good scenario, the GFS has this one curving out to sea and slowly becoming post-tropical. Well, we obviously don't want it to hit Bermuda. And this one would go into Bermuda, so maybe something to watch for Bermuda. And then coming from behind it, maybe a system right here in the Atlantic. Okay, let's look at the European model now. And the European actually has a much weaker system developing here, maybe a tropical storm. And it has a weak system going into the Caribbean, so this one doesn't like development as much. And then has it just kind of fizzling out as it goes into the Caribbean, maybe some dust and wind shear, which is quite interesting. Let's look at the Euro AI. So here's our area, and the Euro AI, for the models I've seen, does not like development on the system. And this one, so far, is no different. No development out of the system. But it likes another system maybe coming up behind it and being a tropical storm before fizzling out. Yeah. Okay. And then the last one, we'll look at the Icon model. The Icon doesn't go too far out, but has a pretty strong system. Starting to maybe turn a little bit north, so we can watch for that. Okay, so we get the satellite imagery. And starting to strengthen, definitely. You can kind of see that. But still not close enough to be a tropical system. See it right there. But the actual circulation's more down here. Okay, now I want to head to the Eastern Pacific. Okay, yes. So first we're going to look at Tropical Storm Reno, I think. Sorry if I mispronounced that. Flight uncertainty track, and now new models have this not even making landfall into the Baja California area. Has it actually just kind of curving out? So those couple outliers were correct. Curving out as a tropical storm and then becoming post-tropical into a depression and not making a direct landfall if it stays in the middle of the cone. So it goes to the very, very east of the cone that we see here. It could make some landfall off Baja California. But it's a post-tropical depression. Let's look at these rain potentials. And for a weak system, it's not too bad. You could see some heavy rainfall in Mexico. You got that 8 inches there, that 4 to 6 inches, that 2 inches, the 1 inch, and then also some showers up here for maybe 1 to 2 inches. And then Texas and New Mexico, as we move into the weekend, should be watching for some rain from this. We can look at some spaghetti models. So there's the current track, and then a little bit before it, most of them had it going to Baja California and free, had it staying out to sea. Now most of them have it staying out to sea. except for a couple outliers. Now let's look at Kiko. This Hawaii needs to be watching. They're now in the forecast cone. This would be a tropical storm, but by the time it were to get to them, the intensity models from here on out, 48 hours from now, they have it being Cat 3, Cat 2, Cat 1. And it continues to weaken until it gets to back to a tropical storm. So it continues the weekend. What else? I might have covered everything, honestly. I mean, it's not too much. I mean, there's a lot to talk about, but not too much. Next names on the list, we got Humberto. After Gabrielle, we got Humberto, Imelda, I think, Jerry, Karen, Lorenzo, Melissa, and Esther. But it's been a very slow season, so we'll have to see if it picks up in the last couple months, or if it stays like this and we only get a couple more named storms. Because we had a couple weak tropical storms. Chantal was the only one that we really had to watch. Chantal was the only one we really had to watch because it's the only one that's made landfall. Barry a little bit too for the U.S. Like, I'm talking about in the U.S. We had to watch Barry for a second, but didn't end up doing anything. We had to watch Aaron for a second, but it didn't end up doing anything. The only one that actually ended up doing anything with like direct rainfall, like not like Aaron where it was surf and some wind, like direct landfall was Chantal, which made landfall in the Carolinas, and honestly had not a pretty strong impact. So that was a mid to strong tropical storm, actually. 50-mile-per-hour winds, I'm pretty sure. Okay, yeah. When you look around the world, 97W, the Western Pacific's been pretty active. Okay, what else can we talk about? I mean, we can go back on tropical tidbits. So, recent mission. I don't think they have one going to invest in 91L yet. Now it's just tools. Okay. So with the satellite imagery on Kiko, it's looking very strong. You see that eye in there. Then it kind of disappears, but that would reform. A very strong system there. The south side being the dirty side. Okay. Lorena, how you pronounce it, is basically just fizzled out. I mean, it's in the actual circulation, you can see the spin over here. That's where the actual storm is, but all the rain is very disorganized. All the rain is off to the east, so in Mexico. So that's why we're getting so much rainfall totals. Because you can see the cloud spinning here. That is where the actual low is. But the rain's away from it. Okay, yeah, let's look at the ocean analysis here. So yeah, let's look here. So we're in this 91L is right now. It's currently in those probably 29 to 30 degrees Celsius waters, and it'll work its way into maybe right now it's dropping 29 to like high 28 degree, if that makes sense. I guess it doesn't, but right now it's like 29 degree water, maybe 28. Then it will work its way into maybe some slightly hotter waters where it's 30 degrees, and then make its way out into the Atlantic where they could see 28 degree water Celsius, remind you. And if the very unlikely scenario of this going into the Gulf happens, it could go in the 31 to 32 degrees Celsius. So that would strengthen it quite a bit. Okay. I think we've covered just about everything. Thank you guys so much for watching. Again, I apologize about not posting recently. Thanks for watching.